Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Null Podcast. Coming up in this episode, using Meta RayBans to dox people, AI summaries can be cruel, and is it smart to use AI to apply to jobs? Thousands of jobs. And make sure to stick around to the end for our AI-generated weekly themed outro song.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice, but here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Paul Bratzlovsky, and Bobby Davis.
So I recently saw on social media, I saw it on Instagram first as a video, and it was a video of a guy walking around with a pair of Meta smart glasses on, and he was walking up to people and saying, "Hey, are you so-and-so?" And they would say, "Yeah." And he would say like, "Hey, I met you at so-and-so." They'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah." I was like, okay, that's interesting. So here's what was actually happening here. This young man is one of a couple of Harvard students, and they created this. I'm going to call it, I don't know, is it creepy? I don't know if it's creepy. It's been labeled as creepy, but I don't know if it is. Well, I'll get you guys' opinion on that in a minute. This demo using Meta Ray-Ban glasses and AI and an app to basically facial recognize people and then pull back some information about those people. So it uses facial recognition. It's basically streaming out to Instagram. So here's like the pipeline for this. It uses the glasses, streams out to Instagram, which is like a built-in feature on the glasses. They then have a program that watches that Instagram video feed. It looks for faces. So an AI recognizes, hey, that's a face. They take that face. They use another app called PimEyes to identify that person. That comes back with a like, hey, we think it's so-and-so. They then search for public records, like voter registrations, like people finder applications, stuff that's already out there. They take that information, they basically put it all back into a web page, basically, and send it back to a mobile app on their phone. And it says, hey, on their phone, they're looking at it and saying, hey, are you John Smith? Like, oh, cool, John, you go to Harvard too? Okay, cool. Like, and then all the information's come back on their app. So that's kind of how this application works. This is not for release. They've kind of put this out there as like a demo, if you want to call it that. Here's the crazy thing about this. This uses all existing technology. There's no invention here other than the way that they've kind of strung this together in these series of things. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is this a future you want, first? And secondly, does it matter that it's a pair of smart glasses taking the image, or is that just novelty for this?
They can do it with any camera. Doesn't matter where it came from. So
just makes it easier, you know.
Makes it cooler. I mean, like, it's like you do with your glasses,
I do like have the issue is it's like you are being able to gather information on everybody you see that's passing by. Mm-hmm. Granted, you're using publicly available APIs, but like, do those people consent to that? I'm not saying I wouldn't use this app myself. I just want to put it out there that if people think I have some high moral ground, if I were trying to go on dates and find a way to break ice, I think this is a perfect app for me to have. But at the same time, it's like, do you need to give your consent, like for people to be able to, I don't know. I think it's like a line that you could teeter on. On both sides and make a compelling argument.
I don't think you have an expectation of privacy when you're walking around in public.
Yeah, true.
So I think people can take your photo and then they can use it.
So here's sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
No, so go ahead.
I was going to say, like, here's the thing is, like, I think, like, the rabbit is out of, like, the hat, but, like, for instance, right now, they used to make a point publicly available information. Mm-hmm. What's stopping companies that have access to non-public information to create a similar app where
like the NSA or CIA?
Right, they already have that. So it's like,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
so
nothing's stopping them from doing it.
So it's like,
it's already happening.
It's
already happening, but the camera is different. The camera right now is not on your face. The camera that they're using to do this with is in the street, attached to a pole.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. It's a security camera. This just takes it a step further. But I'm with you, Paul, in terms of this being like this middle area where I'm like, this is, yes, it's creepy and seems weird, but I also kind of like it.
Yeah. Do you remember like a while ago I did like, because I think there's a lot of power to it. A while ago, when we were talking AR, before we even had the idea that these awesome RayBan glasses going to come out, I was saying how it'll be cool for someone with Alzheimer's to have some sort of app that could help them recognize like where they are, who they're talking to.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of power for good. And of course, there's power for bad. And I think it should be like, I think people should have the freedom to have the eyeglasses and different like applications they could download, but they should at least have also responsibility to use it for good. But it is interesting. It's an interesting place. I don't know. Like, I think it could go either way for me. Like, yes and no.
If you're at a cocktail party and, and your job is to smooch with the guests to raise money for your latest startup, this is a powerful tool. Like that's such and such from, BlackRock or such and such from, AC Ventures, So like, I think it could be kind of cool to know people, or if you're running for political office, definitely helps you, That's Frank. He donated $1 million, so shake his hand, So.
This is going to be one of those things where in the short term, like right now, it's going to seem weird.
Yep.
There's going to be a point where there's a tipping point in the future where this is no longer weird. This is going to be the norm. When a lot of people have this, it's not going to be weird because I can walk up to you. You're going to know who I am just as much as I'm going to know who you are. But I also think there has to be this option, just with a lot of things, of like opting out. There has to be some kind of opt-out option in this to be like, I don't want to be part of this. And right now, because they're using these public records, you can opt out of like these, the data collection on this public record side. You can make sure that there's an option on like the app that it's using to do the facial recognition, PIM eyes. There is an option on their website to opt out of that. You can say, hey, here's my face. I don't want anybody to be able to search my face and come up with anything on here. So, but it's very fragmented in that way. I think it needs to happen more like at the first stage, like, which is basically the capture point, right? But don't forget, this is totally unauthorized. Like, Meta didn't say, like, oh, this is a feature of these new glasses. It's totally an unauthorized way of doing it. So there's always going to be ways around these kind of barriers, I guess. But I think the future is that we'll have something like this. I think I don't think on its face it's a bad idea to be able to say, hey, Joe, I remember where I know you from. Like, hey, because your glasses told you, or right now your smartphone tells you, but those the Orion glasses from Meta, they'll be able to have an overlay, so that overlay won't be on the phone anymore. It'll come back to the glasses, and you'll be able to say, have a little pop up next to the person that says, "Hey, this is John. You know him from so and so."
Yeah, all the sci-fi shows are showing you this, from Continuum to like I was watching Citadel Diana, and she's got a contact in her that gives her an overlay of the world, and like all her secret spy information is up there, and so when they meet someone, they can identify them. So,
yep.
I feel like what this is going to really bring to like the top of mind, this concept of like data brokers who like have access to your data and the services that basically help you clean out your like public representation and data. And so it becomes anonymous. And because of these publicly available like information from your social, for instance, are you going to be now like, are people going to be more hesitant to have too many social accounts because they're like, you know what, I don't want anybody to know everything about me?
I think we're stuck in this loop where most people want to be famous for whatever reason, and then they'll push everything to social media. Like, why else would I care what Paul ate for lunch? Like, why do I push a Chick-fil-A sandwich and stick it up on Twitter or Threads or anything like that?
Here's what I see this going, and this is probably going to tie in a little bit to like the other story with AI summarized things. But like now I'm able to have these glasses per se, and I find someone in public that I see, and I know that they have a public like profile available. I could have my AI start sending them messages and smooching them to see like the likelihood of that person being interested in me. So I'm kind of like interested to see like, will this create the type of like kind of interaction where all of it is going to be done through these social AIs that we have, and then we'll never talk to each other. So like I'll look at her in my glasses, she'll look at me with those glasses. We have everybody's data. She's probably going to cross-reference the type of kids we might have or not have, and she'll be like, you know what? Tell my AI to send this dude a message. There's no chance.
So the AI wink, is that what you're saying?
Exactly,
AI
exactly.
wink?
AI wink,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think, like it or not, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
This is going to be something we're going to have. And it's going to be one of those things, like I said, it's going to be weird in the short term with a low adoption rate because it feels creepy. But in the long term, when we kind of have it back and forth and there is good mechanisms for opting out, those who want to be recognized and want to be able to recognize people will be able to, and those who don't won't.
And we've done it to ourselves. We put our stuff out there on the social media.
I mean,
so
exactly.
Privacy is out the window when you just, show every single step of every single day out on Instagram.
Let me ask you a question then. If I have my glasses and I go to a movie and...
Can't do that, man.
But
the movie will have some kind of protection on it that'll...
Yeah.
But that's like crazy thing. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be this whole privacy industry that's going to boom to create services to help people like have some sort of sense of privacy because we all have cameras on our noses.
So we can get those halo rings that show the light up to your face so it blocks cameras.
Yes,
you have to wear those around now everywhere.
Exactly. And so I'm kind of curious, like if the world's going to evolve, like because of these technologies where we're going to have some weird, like either masks or weird, like devices that like censor our faces when a camera looks at them. And that's like insane. But so fun at the same time.
I know I bring this back a lot to Black Mirror, but there's a Black Mirror called White Christmas where this technology is built into your eyes already, right? So you can already recognize people and whatever. So the same kind of technology, you can find information about people. But there is an option where you can block people. So when you block somebody, they can no longer visually see you. You appear as like basically like a white mask, like just a white blob. And they can no longer hear you, and you can no longer hear them until the person
that's so
unlocks.
Insane. That
so
I
it's
probably
like,
one day is going to be there in that future.
Yes. It doesn't feel like it's that far away with this kind of thing, does it? It really genuinely doesn't.
Scary.
It feels like it's a feature we could have now.
It's so crazy.
So could I walk around with my anime avatar and just be that way? So that's
well, maybe I don't know. Maybe there's some AR thing here where you can do that.
Yeah.
Like there's an AR version of you take their glasses off or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, you look nothing like.
But this, I like how back in the day they're like, when you get that information about someone in public, you're a stalker, and now it's like a feature. It's like now you're going to be able to get all the social profiles. You'll be able to know everything about them, and so I'm kind of like interested if like this type of technology, if it's going to have some sort of regulation, right? Because like. For instance, they're not going to make it open source where I could create that app for the glasses, or like I'm sure they're going to lock it down because let's say if someone does use the glasses to, let's say, canvas a neighborhood and be like, oh, this is so-and-so lives in this neighborhood. And then it cross-references their social post being like, oh, I saw a social post there in Bahamas this week. And so it's like, oh.
But you could do that right now, though.
You can do it right now.
But it's not easy. And so by creating technology that make those things easier, does it shift the responsibility on the person who facilitates this technology, or is it still on the criminal themselves?
The only reason we think it's creepy is because it's in a pair of glasses. You can hold your iPhone up and take a picture of everyone who lives in the neighborhood and cross-reference them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it does make it kind of creepy because in the glass, right? Which, by the way, these are the Meta glasses. Just so you know how inconspicuous they are.
He's recording all of us.
I could have been recording this right now and finding out who you guys are. So it's that's that's the creepy factor, right? That it's like, oh, you couldn't even tell like you were being filmed on a camera. It's different than holding up a phone, right? I guess that's the thing. But again, I'm all for there's going to be this creepy, weird time, and then there's going to be this time in the future where it's just like, it's of course you know who I am. I know who you are.
That's right.
It's just going to be assumed that that's the case.
Man learns he's being dumped via dystopian AI summary of text. I don't think it's dystopian because it just summarized a text that his ex-girlfriend sent him, and just I don't know why he would be upset about that. It's like he got the shortened version. Maybe it spared his feelings a little bit. Maybe like the AI was like, man, she said a lot of rough things in that text message. I'm just gonna let this guy off easy. And I mean, like, I like how they're like creating these unnecessary headlines because you're still going to get that text no matter what.
You're still
the fact that you had text. An AI, right? The fact that you had AI app to summarize it it's like, oh well, okay, cool. It's not AI's fault you got dumped. If you know, but to me, the funny part about this is, imagine you have an app on your phone that does read your text message, and it's like, oh, like your girlfriend is breaking up with you, and it auto responds to try to say all the right things to convince her not to break up with you. Oh. That would have been a story. You know what I'm saying? A man keeps his girlfriend because of super smart AI. So to me, like, you know, I don't think this is an issue.
The funniest thing about this whole article, I read the comments.
Of course.
And you can tell the guys that have relationship issues, you know, because the guy's like, that's all I need. Just tell me where to pick my clothes up. You know, it's like, and so it's kind of funny where they expected this to happen. They don't want to read the 5 paragraphs from the woman. They just want to know, like, okay, yeah, we're breaking up. Yeah, I saw this coming. You know, so like sometimes we know, you know, when you know. So
this thing basically summarized like 60 something texts. I think the story said something like 60 something texts, and it put them into one summary. And that summary did just say, no longer in relationship, wants belongings from the apartment. That's so the first like notification that he got, right? Was on the front of the phone. So this is part of like Apple Intelligence, like the new like iOS 18.1, which comes out like later this month. Like this is a feature in that. And I don't know if you can turn it off, or you can. I'm assuming you can. I don't know. I've not messed with it. It's in beta. That's why he has access to it. I've not messed with the beta, so I don't know. I'm assuming you probably can. Here's the thing for me. Like, some people might like this, and he actually said he was okay with it. Like, he's okay with it coming that way. But imagine, I mean, if it's like sometimes like a sensitive subject, let's say that somebody died or something, and it's like this really long explanation of something. It's just like, you know, mom's dead. Like, that'd be the text that comes. It's like, whoa, hold on. I don't think you can do that. I have this idea of like, I think Apple Intelligence needs an empathy slider.
Yes.
It needs a 0 to 10 empathy slider. Right now, it's on 0, clearly.
Yeah. Like the robot on Interstellar? Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. I need to kind of have it break it to me, like in the summary. Like, just be like, hey, I got some bad news. At least preempt it with that.
So
I want my empathy slider
Kevin,
10.
You need to sit down for this.
Exactly. I want my empathy slider on 10. Yes. Because that's the first thing you see on the screen. Like, you can still summarize it, but don't just be like, boom, straight in with the bad news.
That is insane. I think in the future, it's just going to be our phone AIs communicating with other AIs. I think that's the future we're going to go auto respond. You know.
So what about the case where it hallucinates? You know, and you sent the breakup text back, and that's not really what she said.
Right. You didn't actually read the entire 60-something messages.
She says, we're moving to a new apartment. You need to get your stuff out tomorrow.
This is true.
So I'm not breaking up with you. And you sent the mean text back. You know,
it's so funny.
Yeah, that's true. I just wonder if there's other scenarios where the summary is not the best idea. Like an AI summary of something isn't always the best thing. Let's say, I mean, it could be anything that's like, you know, any kind of bad news, I guess you could say. Like, you know, your doctor texts you your medical issues or whatever, and it's like, you're going to die. Like that. I mean, it's like, whoa. Like, again, empathy slider to 10, please. Like,
the thing that to me that boggles my mind is that how we're discussing like, oh, I can't believe it summarized like the breakup. It's like, how does the summarization work? And I don't care. They say it's living locally on your phone. Get that? Like someone's processing your text messages and they have that data being indexed and stored. So the fact that you're using like an AI system to summarize whatever, like all that data is now being like filtered through like there, like, I mean, we all know there's no like, privacy anymore. But to me, that's just like, we're okay with it now. It's like, oh, I want the convenience of summarizing text, because imagine like you had text messages with your doctor, like you said, and they talked about this condition that you have, and somehow that data is, and definitely not the case now, but I'm just thinking outside the box, like here, like that data is able to be seen by your insurance company.
Yeah.
And now they're like, hey, this person has this, and that. And now they're going to start really
raising your insurance rates in real time.
Oh yeah. Right. But I'm sure there's some kind of HIPAA rules against that. I mean, that's why they don't, I guess that's why your doctor doesn't text you those kind of things, right? Yeah. That's why it is like secure application, all those kind of things, whatever HIPAA rules are. But I agree that could be a thing. Like the insurance company just want that information.
What you're saying though, like messages is now not a secure form of communication.
My question is, if we have people in our lives that are important, girlfriend, wife, mom, dad, and we can't even read the short text messages, we need it down to 3 words. Yeah. We got issues to begin with. Second, the bigger question is this what AI is going to do for us? Is this the pinnacle thing? I need to summarize text for you and it's going to cost you 34 cents a month to do that. I don't know it seems like there'd be more to OpenAI.
What I'm predicting is that people going to get AI exhaustion from all the different things and services that it does, to a point where they're gonna just basically start being like, I need to actually talk to a real human. It doesn't have to be perfect. They could even say some mean things to me. I want that more than I want this AI summarized content, a video, whatever.
So I have not messed with Apple. Like I said, I haven't downloaded the beta for Apple Intelligence, but I'm assuming if this is an on or off feature, you either turn it on or you turn it off. Mm-hmm. But I agree with Bobby. Maybe there's certain people you don't want to turn this on for. Yeah. But there's certain things that you do, right? Maybe you just get all those spam texts and you just don't. I don't know. Maybe you just. I don't know. You just don't want to ignore those. Or maybe that's a better usage of this. Like use your Apple Intelligence to recognize spam texts and just don't ever show them to me ever. I never want to see another spam text ever. Or I should be able to pick that up.
Or Apple Intelligence realizes it's a spammer and then keeps engaging with them to waste their time without you being bothered. But at the end of the day, they're probably using AI anyway, so it's going to be AI versus.
So Kevin wants the empathy filter.
I want the
Paul
opposite.
wants the troll filter.
The troll.
Hold on,
troll
it's the same,
to 11.
Hold on, it's the same filter. It just falls on filter. 0. I'm on 10. Empathy at 0.
There should be like negative. You go into negative.
Like, send it back. The trolling back.
But I'm kind of curious, if AI gets so much better, which it will, are people going to be like, okay, before you send this text message, can you find the best way to influence that person's decision to go to my favorite Thai restaurant than their stupid pizza place? It's like,
well, I think definitely that's a thing. That's a feature, right? I mean, that is a feature. That 100% that's a feature. To influence the person on the other end. You can ask it to write that text right now, right? You could say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to answer this person, but I really want to go for Thai food. How do I influence them knowing this, and this? And it could write that. So you could have that. You could build that right now.
I remember listening to some politician, and he was like, one of the most important skills you have to learn is the thing that you think is not the thing that you say. So there's got to be this intermediate step where you clearly don't have a chance of saying something wild as a politician. And so basically,
Paul, you know what year this is? This is 2024. I think that went out the window.
No, I'm saying this. No, it sounds like it because they're saying some wild stuff, but I'm still
you think there's even wilder things happening?
I'm still saying it's more filtered. But what I'm saying is that we're going to get to a point where it's when I want to talk to you, I'm literally going to make a call or a text message, whatever. Your AI is going to interpret that to you and explain to you. And then you're going to give your response. And then the AI is going to process that and send to me. And to a point
well, you're not even going to make the original call. Your AI is going to make the original call to my AI. And they're just going to communicate. And we're just going to see the fruits of whatever that communication is.
That's going to kill dating completely.
No, it's not, Paul. Imagine this. You wake up on a Friday morning and it says, you have a date with Alice tonight at 7. You're going to here. And you're like, who the heck is Alice? I've never talked to her. We've had 30 conversations, Paul. Get with it.
The whole point is, this is exactly what I'm saying, is that your AI is going to start the conversation and is going to play it till the end, to a point where it's no, it's not going to work out. And it's just going to, you're just going to have no date whatsoever. And then, it's forget it. Or it's going to play the other part to extent where it's oh, you're perfect match. Skip all the exploratory phases of trying to learn anything about each other.
You're getting married tomorrow.
Just get married tomorrow. These are the kids you're going to have. This is how much money you got to save for college. It's just going to take all the excitement out of life. It's sometimes you need a surprise. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, here's the surprise. You wake up on Friday, you get divorce papers.
OpenAI. Yeah,
I didn't know we were married. Yes, you were. You got married yesterday. Yeah. We're divorced today.
And the winners is going to be
wants half.
Yeah. The funny part is we're not going to interact with each other. It's going to be all of our AIs, and we're all going to to get a bill at the end of the month being
exactly.
You spent this many credits and OpenAI and
here's your alimony bill.
I'm going to start a new, a new service where it's you just live your life without tech. And you're going to pay me money for it because you're going to get so bombarded by all this AI stuff. Like at first, like I remember back in the day, I was going to be like psychiatrist, and I switched to something else. And I was like, and now I'm like, man, we're probably going to need a lot of psychiatrists with all the issues we're going to develop through the use of tech and AI and what have you.
Speaking of another relationship that shouldn't be automated, so we went through dating, and now we're going to applying for a job. So now there's this guy that says I applied for 2,843 jobs, I think in one day. And so
that was like 3 months.
3 months, over 3 months. Okay, 3 months. So he's using a new AI powered bot to do this. And I've got some thoughts on this because I feel like in the area of my expertise, this is one of my expertise, how to find a job and how do you do jobs. I can tell you firsthand, both hiring people and not hiring people, that I see AI resumes. This thing will generate an AI resume, generate an AI cover letter, and automatically apply it to a job using LinkedIn, using a bot. And I see these resumes coming in, and you can recognize them almost off the bat, right off the bat. The other thing that happens is you get a resume in that you like. Let's say it gets through the ATS scanner, and you call this person, and they think you're crazy because there's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what job? What are you talking about? Like, like, I don't know. Or they hang up on you when you call them back, and you're just literally looking at their resume and the application that they submitted. And then you realize that they didn't submit it. And so like in the job process, this is weird that they're applying things automatically. And it seems like if you wanted a job, I don't know how you guys feel like this, you would want to know where this thing was applying you to. You just don't like apply for every single job. The thing this guy did that I thought was weird, he was applying for any kind of job. Like one was a UX designer, one was a manager of a restaurant. He was like, it was just so weird. Like he wasn't qualified for any of these things, just looking for a job and not really tailoring his search. So I feel like today, if you want to get past an ATS scanner, I'm going to give some gold advice here. If you want to get past an ATS scanner, apply to the job directly, and then turn around and call the HR rep and say, hey, I just applied, and they'll pull your resume off the stack. Works almost every single time because all they're trying to do is find five people to send to the hiring manager, and you just save them a lot of work by skimming through all this AI trash that they're getting. So I think, but a lot of people think it's fair. Like, in other words, like I have ATS scanners, so I might as well have the AI bot that gets me past the ATS scanner. So it's only fair to do this. I think if you just call, you have a better job. I don't know what you guys think, but
I agree with you. If there's a thing that everybody's doing 90% of the time to abuse the system, do the opposite. Like for me, like I get in a lot of trouble because I switched careers late into my life into like web development and coding and whatever. And in the process, like people always ask me like, how many resumes did you send out? And my answer is like 4. And they're like, well, how the hell did you get hired? And I was like, networking, baby, meeting friends, talking to people, getting out there, bugging people, calling them on the phone, meeting more friends. And to them, it's like, you tell them that, they're like, that's not fair. You got lucky. And then they're like, I just need to send more resumes. And then they do stupid stuff like this, where they automate like resume process, thinking that the more is going to be better. And it's like, no, like that's not how the world works. If some, like, it's same thing with like, I hear with investing, like if everybody else is over investing in an opportunity, it's probably too late. It's like,
they think that applying for a job is a volume problem.
It's not a volume problem.
It's not a volume problem. It's a quality problem. It's a matching problem. It is am I the right fit for the right job? Spraying out thousands of applications to a job does not solve the problem. You may get a hit in there and maybe that's the thing, but you would have found that anyway, and it would have cost you way less time and effort just to apply for the one job you're actually qualified for versus having it apply for almost 3,000 jobs.
What I don't understand is when you talk to people who do this, they're saying that they don't want to invest the time to do this. And I don't understand like why you wouldn't invest the time in the number. We do a couple things. One, we work, and 2, you have interpersonal relationships. You need to spend time on both of those things. And it seems like you have a vested interest in trying to figure out which job you want to do. That's where you're going to spend 40 hours or 50 hours a week doing it. So you'd seem like I'd want to pick that one, you know? It's not like, oh, here's a job, start tomorrow, and you don't even know anything about it. It's amazing why people fail interviews too, because they don't know the job they're applying for at all.
Go for one of these interviews that you have no idea that's even applied for and what it's, or what the AI's even told them, or whether what the AI told them was actual truth, because, you know, it doesn't hallucinate, does it? So it might have hallucinated your Harvard degree for that one job that you're applying for. You show up and be like, oh, I see you graduated from Harvard. You're like, nope.
Didn't do that. It was MIT.
Right. It's going to be weird. This is again, just go back to what we've talked about in all of the stories that we talked about today. It's AI talking to AI.
Yes.
It's totally taking the human element out of this. And people feel like they need to do that because they feel like the companies have some sort of advantage that the company's using AI to screen me out. So therefore I should be able to apply to thousands of jobs also using AI, taking the human out of this. It's so weird.
Just call the company. Like, I'm telling you, like, they don't get any calls anyway. People think it's so rude to do it. Like, I'm telling you, it works almost every single time. It works. Like, they're like, wow, thank you for that. Let me pull you up. Oh, Paul, wow, you've got some good experience here. I'll pass this on to John. And then you just say, do you think John has some time tomorrow? Boom. You know, let me get up with him, you know, and then you get an interview. That's how you do it.
That is exactly how you do it.
They want to talk to a real person, not a fake bot. I mean, like, I think people get offended by the bots too. I was reading a LinkedIn article. The guy said he didn't know what to do with this. He got a resume and he pulls his resumes into JSON to see, so he could search them better. So he's looking for jobs, and he got this one resume and it had 6,000 characters in it. And it's like, he was reading it and he goes, there was this white text at the bottom of the resume, had all these keywords in it.
That's so funny.
Wow.
And he goes,
that's awesome.
Should I not hire this guy because the white text seems weird, or should I hire him because he got around the process? You know, that was his general question on LinkedIn. You know, I thought it was just like, we're trying to hack the system when you could just call him. You know, I also read a story about a guy who was hiring a salesperson, and he got like 100 or 200 resumes for his sales job. Not a single person called him.
Sales job? That's like, are you kidding me? That's like,
you don't even send the resume. You just call him and say, John, I got a deal for you, man. Look at this. I can close this next week. In fact, I was talking to 3 guys about your product yesterday. Like, you know, so it seems like interpersonal skills are going to be the champion,
the golden nugget.
The golden thing that will defeat AI every time when you can talk to someone. Imagine if we do have AI bots and we go to dating through AI, you know, that kind of stuff. And there's the one guy who just walks up to the girl on the street and says, hey, how you doing?
She's not going to know how to respond.
She doesn't know how to respond.
Because her AI isn't working.
Right. No, she's just like, she's going to have her RayBans. So she's like, hold on, I'm having bad service. I can't quite make out what I should say next.
Oh, I see you have a criminal record.
Yeah. You know what? That's why I'm very passionate about keeping private things private. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I think like that's what I'm saying. At some point, it's going to get to a point where it's like, I just want to talk to a human. Like, can you like, you know, it's like, but the funny part is here, because like we're old enough that we've lived in a life without all these tools. Like the young generation, like they're not going to be capable for making decisions or having a comeback that wasn't prompted like to them from a prompt they gave an AI. It's like, it's because like I see it with like, I love Copilot and like whatever for coding, but when the internet goes down, it's like if you've got too accustomed using it, you kind of have to pause for a second, be like, how do I do this again? It's like you are lost. And to me, the scary part is like you rely on it so much that you forget how things worked in the first place. And now it's like, so I'm very interested how this is going to affect the future population. And I think, like you were saying, Bobby, the idea of like social like skills and you know probably critical thinking skills, they're going to become like very important like because there's going to be a shortage, you know.
It's a shortage of people skills, interpersonal skills, getting along with others. And like really, if you're saying my anxiety is so high that I can't send an email personally to someone, you need to look into that. You know, that's what's restricting you from getting a job. It's not It's not the fact that you didn't apply to 3,000 jobs in a 24-hour period. And just, I don't think this is something you can automate or should automate. Could you automate it? Yes, you can. Does it work? I highly doubt it works. I'm sure there's some people that says it worked for me. But for the most part, we see these people on our YouTube channel all the time. I applied to 6,000 jobs and got zero answers. And the only way you applied to 6,000 jobs is using AI. And we're like, don't do that. You didn't call 6 people. You should have called 6 people.
I'll tell you like how they should be using AI. Instead of doing it this way, where you automate the most important part of like sending your resume that should be targeted specifically for the role, instead of doing that is you create an AI bot that basically identifies all the key people in the company and gets all the information on them, like what yacht club they belong to, what food they like to eat. So then when you meet him in person, you'd be like, hey, Bob, hey, this is like, or whatever. Like, like I was playing this golf game and like, cause I know you golf. And so it's just like, find out the things that work. Like I remember like when I used to go to interviews, I would literally do the step to learn about the product, like what the company is actually building, what are some of the challenges, so what tech they're using, what type of people work there. So when I go there, I have like things I could say that those people already know about, you know, and because you need that familiarity, like, you know, that people could relate to. And if you can't build these relatable, like social interactions, like people won't want to hire you because they're like, what's the point? You know,
we made a video and it's called The Interviews, a course. And one guy wrote back, one of the comments was, listen, Bobby, I'm not going to use your Jedi mind tricks. And one of my things was just find 3 interests that they have and talk about those interests.
Okay. I'm going to tell you my secret that people like, Paul, you're always like so nice. Like I'm not nice, like, but they're like, Paul, you're like so nice. Like I'll tell you my secret, 100%. This is like what I do all the time. And if now you know that I do this, I'm sorry if you think less of me. But when I meet people, like in my mind, I'm like just asking questions about them.
Yes.
To learn like their interest, and then generally show that you're interested in the things that they are, and then just listen. And all of a sudden you're like the likable person. And then they'll be like, oh, like, so at my job, I hope my boss doesn't. Am I like the best employee? Probably not. I'm probably not. But I show like genuine interest in all the coworkers I work with. And I first ask them like about their interests, about their things. I show interest in the work that they do. And so whenever like people talk about me, it's always in positive light. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because people enjoy being around people that genuinely show like interest in what the people are doing. And so if you like,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There isn't.
It's just you are. It's not. You're not faking it.
Right.
You just understand that there is a side effect of that, and but it's a positive side effect.
Yes, I am not
being
faking
nice
it.
has good effects.
But no. But the whole point that I'm getting at is that social skill of interacting with people on a team is very important, and depending on how likable and socially accepted you are, will actually lead you to new opportunities. And one of the things I heard is that in companies, a lot of times, like you'd like to be promoted on your actual like skill ability, but it's not 100% true. It's not only are you competent at the work that you do, but it's how likable you are. And I know that's like unfair, but people want to work with people they enjoy working with. And of course they want them to be competent. And I literally, I told this story many times, but my third tech job I got, the dude who hired me, he literally said, Paul, you're definitely not the smartest developer here, but you're very likable. And I know you could learn things. And so that's why I hired you. And I was like, oh, thanks for your honesty, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, I'm like, wow, like that's kind of, it's not just your social skills, you know?
It's really hard to let go of fire a person that you like, even if they're not that competent. It's real easy to hire an a-hole with a lot of skills. It's real easy to fire those people. Like, it's real easy to do that. But I would say that's my number one thing. And it sounds like the YouTube video, the number one thing that guaranteed to get your job, like, is like, when I ask them, like, what question should I ask at the interview? A lot of people want to know, like, how much does the boss make? You know, what was your fourth quarter revenue? All these kind of weird things. And I would ask them, this one question was, ask them what they were building and working on right now.
Yeah.
And then they'll start talking about work. And then people that work like to talk about work. And I've done this because it comes from personal experience. I remember I went on a job interview, and the first question I asked them, "Hey, what are you guys working on?" And they talked for 45 minutes about the jobs and the project. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I remember leaving the interview, and my recruiter called me and they said, "They want to hire you. What did you do?" I said, "I didn't answer a single question, man." They just talked about work, and they said they want you starting tomorrow. It's like, and I learned right away, if you show interest in what people are working on, it's easier to get hired for sure. And you can't do that through an AI.
Yeah, and I think like sometimes when people think about the job like interview process, they think of it as a one-way like street.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. Or sometimes like, yeah, that's funny. Like your trick at like asking what people do, I think it's a good one.
It's just a Jedi mind trick. It's like,
I will also say the platforms aren't going to like this method either. They're eventually going to crack down on this. Like LinkedIn has already said, we don't because this is scraping LinkedIn.
Yes.
So anybody that knows, this is basically something that's kind of gray area on the internet, scraping information from websites, not usually the way that they want you to use it. And LinkedIn has said, we don't want you doing this. So it basically reads the web pages and takes that information in. It's not an ideal way to use information on a page. So they're already saying, we don't like this. So I think they're already going to start to try and clamp down on things because they're going to see, oh, look, this guy here, he's applied to 2,000 jobs. That's not physically possible. So they're going to have methodologies for stopping these accounts doing it on volume like this anyway. So this is going to have a short window of opportunity here anyway.
And also, like, I'll give another secret to like Bobby's secret. So then you'll have two secrets to 100% get hired, guaranteed. Is that I work like at a company, and other companies are literally like this because it's easier and it makes sense because you pre-qualify people way faster. Is when they have an opening, they ask internally, do you know anybody or in the community that you could recommend for this role? And they will always take into account like recommendations from people that internally work for the company. So your resume won't even get there because they already, found like someone that's more qualified. And if they, and that's just how like world works. And like sometimes like they'll open for resumes, but it's like after they tried internally to find someone to like fill the position. So if you're just sending out resumes rather than building meaningful relationship in those communities, like for instance, when I used to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I used to teach MMA and I was in that whole martial art world. I literally hung out with other Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like practitioners. I went to competitions. I talked to other instructors and school owners, and that was my community. When I switched to development, I kind of like X'd everybody from that community because I love you guys and girls, but you're not going to help me get into tech. And so I became friend. Like that's how I met you guys. Like just started to hang out like at your YouTube channel and being like, stupid comments, and now here I am. And it's like you have to be part of the community and show genuine interest and show that you're willing to engage, and that's where you're going to find those opportunities and those references. And so if you're in like even a friend that just recently got laid off, like he's sending resumes, but he's also like hitting everybody up in his community and other companies he worked for and stuff like that. So it's just a combination of genuine interest, relationship building, and networking, not resume sending.
It's not the job. Yeah, that's not the job.
So if anybody has used this, let us know. Drop us a message. Drop us a message, or drop us a if you're watching this on YouTube, drop us a comment. Successful or unsuccessful. Let us know if you have used this. AI Hawk. You can find it on GitHub if you're smart enough to get it running. It's a Python program, I guess. You got to install Python and get it running, and just some scraping of LinkedIn, and so if you do, let us know. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Null Podcast. If I could ask you to do a couple of things, please let a friend know about the podcast. Leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we would love a thumbs up. You can like and subscribe and get notifications for all future episodes. You can also drop us an email to thenotnullpodcast@aol.com, or you can drop us a text using the link in the description. And we'll see everybody next week.